ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. Hare Krishna everyone. We welcome you all for another session of the series titled as Lead Like Arjuna. So today we are on the sixth topic, not the seventh topic. Today we are on the sixth topic, and that is titled as Destiny versus Karma. So let's briefly define these two terms, and then we'll take a look into this topic. When Krishna defines or speaks about karma in Bhagavad Gita, he says it's very difficult to comprehend, very intricate, intertwined, and nobody can escape it. So when we call local laws, state laws, universal laws, so when we talk about universal laws, this is what law of karma is. Let's talk about destiny first. So destiny, destined, as to say, just like taking birth in a particular family, that's destiny. So destiny means which have been predestined, or predestined activities, situation, our life. It's like a framework where we have been put into it. Now we can act based on our free will. That is called as our destiny precisely. So, how do I move my slide? Yeah, I can move my slide now. So, the key characteristics of destiny in that sense would be it is predestined. It is uncontrollable, which means you cannot change it. You have that given situation, somebody born in a body of a male or a female or an animal body, you can't do anything about it. It's beyond your control, and it is nothing but created by our past actions, which are known as karma. So what is this karma refers to? So karma refers to action. Karma also refers to the results. As you sow, so shall you reap, like this. So the key idea, the concepts around karma is first is of free will, which means you have the freedom. As I said, destiny is like a framework given to you. Consider a case of a football ground, football field that has been provided to you now. It's up to you how you play, and how you play will determine you win the game or not. Second, the idea of law of karma or karma is to create accountability. The kind of action you perform, accordingly, the result is determined to make everyone accountable for their deeds. And third is self-determined. Unlike destiny, which is out of control, but karma is within our control. We choose how to act. So that way it is self-determined. In other words, we can create our destiny by how we act. So in practice, karma teaches us responsibility and accountability. We are held responsible for every action that we choose to act or perform. And of course, there are different types of karma into it. So let's take a look at it. Let's go a little bit more to the foundation and start from the beginning to understand the concept of karma. So look around the world, we see people being born and brought up into different situations. In other words, why people experience different situations in life. Look at the world around you. Some people are born into rich families, some are born to poor families, some are born strong, some are born weak, some have a lot to eat, some have to starve to death, some get the best of their education, some don't even have the basic needs with them, some have a fair complexion, some may have a dark skin. Question is, who determines, who decides all these different situations that we see people undergoing? Yes, we choose. We do have the option to choose certain things. We may choose a life partner, a job, type of education, car, apartment, and many more things. But simultaneously, there are many things which are given to us. That's a framework which is destined. Like, none of us chose our parents, none of us chose our level of intelligence, none of us chose our gender, place of birth, and like many things. So who decides? Who decides this? Let's take an example of students. I had an experience where I had some friends who would just not study all through the semester. They'll just study 2 days before the exam, and that too from the copied notes or the borrowed notes of other students because they hardly attended the classes, but they scored the maximum marks. And rest of us were like wondering what's the point of studying all through the semester when this guy just studying 2 days before can score better. So I believe all of us would have had an experience. Some people work hard but don't get that much results. Some people work hardly but they get the best of the results. Not only that, in terms of results, we often come across situations in life where we are faced with challenging situations, major setbacks, untimely death of loved ones, or maybe we were doing well in our job, suddenly we get an eviction notice like that. So how many of us have wondered, why me? Why all such things have to happen to me? Do I really deserve this? All these challenging situations. In other words, why do bad things happen to good people? And who is responsible for it? The people around me, the state, the prime minister of the country, or the God, or maybe I. And finally, do these events take by chance, or is there some organization behind it? Somebody's making a decision about it. Let me give one or two quick examples to help you understand. Charles Darwin, very noted personality in the domain of atheism, or one who promoted atheism far and wide. Charles Darwin, like that. In the late 17th century, he wrote the paper on evolution, how different species evolved in this creation. Anyways, so just an FYI, although he's known as one of the forerunners of the atheistic philosophy or understanding there's no God, but before becoming atheist, he was a great Christian or devout Christian. In fact, I believe he was a pastor who would give a sermon about how God is a great, God is all powerful, God is all merciful, until one fine day when his 8-year-old son died because of cholera, and he began to wonder, why do bad things happen to good people? My dear God, my dear Lord, if you exist, how can you allow this untoward incident to occur to me, who had been all my life a faithful follower of yours? If you are all powerful, if you are the strongest, if you are the all merciful, then you cannot allow this to happen. And if in case this has happened, well, it means this is a proof that you do not exist, and that's how he became atheist. There's an interesting story of a family from Scotland who bought a ticket and the maiden trip of this the huge magnificent ship on its maiden trip. However, just a week before, they were bitten by a dog and they got sick, and the whole family was barred from boarding the ship. And here the family members have really put their savings and everything in buying the ticket. Now they can't even get any refund. Forget about refund. They can't even forget about boarding the ship. They can't even get a refund. They've lost everything, and they were cursing God. Why did you do like this? Why did you do like this? And fast forward 10 days ahead, the ship, which was thought was unsinkable, sank in its maiden trip. This was none other than the Titanic. It's a story of Titanic. And the news came, and all these people, the Scottish family who were cursing God, later on, they began to say, oh yeah, God must exist because that was the will of the Lord that we survive. And they became believer. While however, those who died in this unfortunate accident, they became confused. If God exists, then why did he allow our family member to die? And that leads to something called as confusion. So, coming to a golden question here, or $1 million question here. Is God responsible, partial? Is he cruel, or who is responsible? So here the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita comes very handy to decode this. And if we understand this concept, the universal laws, how it acts upon us, we can live a very wonderful life free from challenges and suffering. Or, of course, challenges anyways will be part of the life, but our response will be such that we can move around those challenging situations, move forward rather than getting afraid and frustrated. So Bhagavad Gita have 5 major topics: Ishvara, Jiva, Kal, Karma, Prakriti. Today we are speaking about the concept of karma. So who is responsible for it? Is God responsible entirely or partially, or what? Well, Vedic scriptures describe the Supreme Lord acts in our life in 2 roles. First, as a loving father, as a loving friend, just like Krishna to Arjuna was happy to serve Arjuna in the role of a charioteer. So, as a loving father, and he appears in this world time and again. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata abhitanam dharmasya tadatmanam sajamiham. Time and again to give us his association, perform his beautiful pastimes, to give us scriptures to remind us what should be the ultimate goal of life. And the second role that the Lord performs for those who ignore his existence, or rather deny his existence, is the role of a judge. He is sitting in the heart of a living entity as a Paramatma. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter verse number 15, if you wish you can repeat after me. Sarvasya chaham hiti sannivishto matah smriti jnanam apohanam cha vedaischa sarver ameva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. I am sitting in the heart of every living entity, and he is observing and of course is also the sanctioning authority. So he serves as a judge. So Lord is compared to judge. The same judge may award a rigorous punishment to one particular individual, while the same judge may award compensation to another person. So would we say the judge is partial? No, the judge is awarding punishment or the compensation based on the laws of the state. So that is the means of for the judge. So judge is not partial. Similarly, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, I ain't partial to anyone. Samoham sarva bhuteshu nami dvish asti na priyaha ye bhajanti tumha bhaktya maitateshu chapiham. I do not envy, nobody is dear to me, or nor I hate anyone. Everyone is equal to me from that perspective. So I give you or I sanction punishment or award to you based on your actions, which are governed or determined by the laws, universal laws, that is law of karma. So how does judge give different judgments? Activities, the action that you perform, so that is called karma. So as I said, three features of karma: free will, self-determined, and also accountability. As you sow, so shall you reap, and the laws of the land. So that's how Bhagavad Gita introduces the concept of karma. As you sow, so shall you reap. So this was our quick introduction to this topic of destiny versus karma. Let's get into a little more deeper analysis of it. A friend of mine was sharing with me that he bought a new car, and his wife was a little adamant that today I'm going to drive. My friend said, well, it's just a new car and you recently learned the driving. Why don't you just sit and relax and drive? The wife said, no, I'm going to drive. Give me a chance. The husband relented, gave the car key to the wife, and wife began to drive. She got busy in the conversation with the husband, and she banged the car head on to a truck which was parked at the corner of the street. The bonnet, the front part of the car, was smashed to pieces. And now the friend was confused. Who is responsible? Now, interestingly, the moment the car met an accident, of course, both of them were completely safe. Nothing happened to them except for the car. The wife immediately responded, looks like it was destined. We were supposed to meet an accident. It doesn't matter. You drove or I drove, and it was in our destiny for this car on the very second day for purchase to meet an accident. And my friend was saying, I'm confused. Was it really destined? Or was it a negligent driving? I told her you're not so skilled right now to drive, and on top of it, she was talking to me and she lost her attention, met an accident. Then I spoke to him, and that's what we're going to talk over here. I told him there are two notions in life. One is called as karmavad, and second is called as daivavad. What is karmavad? Vad means philosophy. The modern notion is karmavad. You want success, you work hard and you get success. So where karma is given all the privilege and priority, if you work hard, you'll get the result. However, that's very depressing ideology and philosophy, because despite you work hard, it's not that always you'll get results. If you're working professionally, you know that despite you working well and working hard, not that every year you get the desired promotion. And you would always have a situation where somebody else did not work as hard as you, didn't perform as well as you, maybe was taking help from you, got promoted and got a high pay, raise in the salary or high pay like that. To give an example, Mike Tyson, I believe he was the youngest person in the world to become world champion at the age of 19. At that point of time, when he became world champion, he declared, I am the youngest world champion and I will remain and become the oldest world champion. In other words, there is nobody born to defeat him, and he'll remain undisputed world champion for the rest of his life. Fast forward 7 years down the line, 25, 26 years, when he was 25 or 26 years old, he developed a Parkinson's disease, because of which now, forget about fighting or wrestling, he cannot lift a coffee mug with his own hand. He had to quit wrestling. He was so frustrated, so depressed about it. At the age of 34, he was recovering from his disease, and then he thought, let's kind of the wrestle profession again. And he challenged the world champion of that point of time. The contest was very famous. A lot of money was put on bet. And just a week before, Mike Tyson, working very hard for the last 6 months preparing for this battle, just a week before, he realized how much ever I may struggle and work hard, I really cannot function at the speed, at the strength as I was before the Parkinson's disease. And he called off. He called off the battle. He called off the wrestling match, depressed and frustrated. So this Karmavad philosophy, work is worship, do your work, you'll get the result, is very dangerous. This is where people develop suicidal thoughts. You know of that recent incident that happened in Kota, and just a week or two before, 3 students back to back, 3 consecutive evenings committed suicide. I was reading the letter that the last student wrote before committing suicide, and he wrote in a letter, my dear parents, I have failed you because I'm sure this year I will not pass in the IIT exam, so I feel there's no use of living life. I quit, I'm totally frustrated. See, when you think just by you doing an action you can get the result, how dangerous this philosophy. That's called as Karmavad. Other idea or ideology is Daivavad, which means everything is determined by the Lord or the providence. I have nothing to do. Classic example is Vidura and Dhritarashtra. There are many incidents. I like to quote instance just what happened around the Battle of Kurukshetra. So as you know, the Battle of Kurukshetra was about to begin. Arjuna became confused. We already discussed about that in the very first session. And now Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. And here Sanjaya is speaking to Dhritarashtra, telling what exactly is happening. And by the mercy of the Lord, he was able to hear the conversation between Arjuna and Krishna. And here Sanjaya is speaking to Dhritarashtra. So before the war began, before the day began, Sanjaya requested Dhritarashtra. A day before that, Vyasdev, the father of Dhritarashtra, had visited Dhritarashtra, requesting him to reconsider if in case he calls off the war, if he tries to discipline his son Duryodhana, everything will be settled. Give back the kingdom of Pandavas. It is their rightful kingdom. You have deceived and cheated them. Please follow the good advice, or else you'll bring about the ruination of your whole dynasty. Dhritarashtra didn't say anything. He said, oh, what can I do, my father? What can I do, my father? I'm helpless. I'm helpless. This was often excuse. And Vyasa, knowing that this is his intention and desire, he just using the Duryodhana as a bait. He didn't say anything. He walked away. Now Sanjay, before the beginning of the day, actual day of the battle, Kurukshetra, the day 1, he requested Dhritarashtra, my dear king, please pay heed to the good advice of your well-wishers like your father, like Bhishma Pitama, and many others. In fact, Lord Shri Krishna came and spoke to you. Please call off the battle. You know what Dhritarashtra said? Hey Sanjaya, I am helpless at the face of destiny. Whatever has been determined by the providence or the will of the Lord has to happen. We cannot change. You and I, we are not the controller. The Lord have already made the choice. What has to happen, happen. Now we have to wait and watch. What can Sanjay do? Fine. Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita. Sanjay narrated the whole Bhagavad Gita to Dhritarashtra. In Bhagavad Gita, there is a chapter 11 titled as Universal Form. In that universal form, Lord Shri Krishna, when he took the universal form at the request of Arjuna, in that form, he showed to Arjuna how he has devoured the whole Kaurava's army, including the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra. And Dhritarashtra heard about the destruction of Kauravas in the battlefield. Now, Bhagavad Gita concludes, again Sanjay speaks to Dhritarashtra, my dear king, now is also the time. We have learned what is the will of providence, what's the destiny. Will you please worry about the well-being of your son and call off the war? Just for one son, if you can just compromise one son, you can save the lives of 99 sons and the lives of millions of people who have assembled to fight the battle for your selfish reason. Now, the Dhritarashtra was saying, we cannot do anything, the will of providence, You know what he said now after knowing the will of providence? Yet he did not thought of taking an action. He said, "Oh Sanjaya, I understand that, but destiny can always change. Maybe today it is like this, tomorrow it can change. Just like after summer, winter comes, so tomorrow destiny cannot change." This is called as a classic example of people who do not want to work, who are lazy, and who says, well, if the will of the Lord is there. How many times I've heard when we organize retreat and yatras, and I will tell some people, okay, let's come for yatra. Prabhu ji, jab Prabhu ki इच्छा होगी बुला लेंगे हम चले जाएंगे. I go, you lazy fellow, this is not how it works. You have to take an action. So now question comes, so how does life function? If the result is not determined, only on my endeavor, my actions, and if in case results are not only given by Daiva, then how do we get results in our life? It's interesting when Krishna says, Karmanivadikaraste, Mahapalishu Kadashan, Arjuna, perform your duty, but do not worry about the result. So to help you understand the result comes, let me give you a formula. Or maybe let me give an example. Then if you wish, you can write down the formula for yourself, how the results come into our life. Let's take a case of a farmer. Do you agree if the farmer sows the seed, unless the farmer sows the seed, there's no question of crops? But do you also agree if the farmer sows the seed, just sows the seed and does nothing, again the crops will not happen? So after farmer sows the need, that is karma, action. What else is needed? Then he has to wait for Daiva, that is rains. Rains are not controlled by a farmer, not you and I. Daiva, will of providence. If the rain happens, for example, LA fires are going on right now, unfortunately, what is one of the major reasons? Because in the last 1 year or so, there had been no rains in LA because there's so much dryness. It's so easy right now to fire to spread around. It's destiny, it's providence. So unless there are rains, there is no question of crop. Now you have performed an action of sowing a seed, and let's say you sowed a seed today and tomorrow, or let's say today night instead of tomorrow morning there is a rain. Do you expect by tomorrow afternoon you'll have a crop? No. After you've done an action, plus you got the support of Daiva, then comes the Kala, time factor. Classic example, when a husband and wife come together with the wish to have a child, the mother have to wait for 9 long months. Not that because she has become pregnant, she can give birth immediately. 9 long months, that is called as Kala. So when you have 3 things, karma, that's the formula for you. How result happens, if you wish, you can write down. Karma plus Daiva plus Kala equals to result. When all 3 of this align together, that's the time we get result. Therefore, Krishna says, Arjuna, in getting the result, you only have 1/3 contribution, 2/3 contribution is beyond you, because Daiva is also determined by me, Kalosmi, and I am the Kal. So 2/3 goes back to Krishna or the Lord or his agency who manages his creation, and that's how we get the result. So I narrated all this to my friend whose wife had met an accident, or who spoiled the new car. So he told me after I spoke to all this thing to him, he felt relieved, relaxed. He said, well, it makes sense to me. I understand the whole concept. Thank you for all this thing. And he went back home. His car was in garage for almost 10 days odd. And after a hefty bill, which he had to pay for the repair of the car, whatever insurance can settle, and he had to pay something on top of it. Finally got his car. So another day, his wife was sitting right next to him, and now the husband is driving. So husband began to speak to his wife based on what we have discussed. And he said, I was thinking about that incident where despite me telling you not to drive, you drove, met an accident, and you said, well, looks like some bad karma. Destiny. Well, let me tell you, there are 2 situations. Maybe it was destined. Destined why? Maybe because of your past sinful reaction, because you did something wrong in the past, sinful reaction, because of this we got this result in the form of a destiny. Or it was a case of a negligent driving, which means karma, irresponsible action. And the response of the wife was interesting. Bas, shuru ho gaye. Kisi ki galti ho na ho, at the end of the day you have to find fault with me. Even if the car met an accident, even if it was destiny or whatnot, now you have to find fault with me. Let me tell you who's responsible for it. If you think karma was in action, or if in destiny was in play, let me tell you, you end up paying the hefty bill for it, and because of which you had to also suffer it, which means it is not my sinful action because of which I had to face an accident. It was your sinful reaction or sinful action that done in the past because of which I unfortunately was sitting on the driving seat and we had an accident. Because of whom? Because of your sinful action in the past, and we got that as a reaction. So husband said, okay, thank you so much. Well, we'll pause the subject matter here. It's beyond me to comprehend and to help you clarify. So this battle, this contradiction, complexity around karma continues, but I hope at least this short discussion of the subject of karma versus destiny helps us understand few basic things. Karma means action. Karma also means reaction. Destiny is a framework of our life. The place of birth, the time of birth, the type of parent, the type of body. This is all destiny. The time of death is all destiny. Different situation that will come in our life is all destiny. This part of destiny, which is created based on our past actions and the will of the Lord, a will of providence like that. But karma refers to free will. Karma refers to choices. How in that framework that have been given to you based on your own past actions created by you, now on this in this given framework, the life that you're living, how you act, how you react, how you respond, you further create your destiny, maybe of this life or in the next life. And the second most important concept was how the results are determined not only by actions, not only by providence. When you perform an action of sowing the seed, and when there is enough rain, that is daiva, and then there's a kal factor. Krishna says, I am the kala. When these three align together, that's the time we get a result. Therefore, Krishna says, Karmanevadikaraste Mafaleshu Kadachan. Hey Arjuna, perform your duty. Do not worry or do not think so much about the results like that. So, concluding points before we summarize and close this topic for today. What is some practical application? First thing, focus on what you can control. While it is beyond us to change our destiny, however, at least we can perform responsible actions to improve our future outcomes. So don't try to control situations, it's beyond us. Try to control our actions and responses. Act responsibly. In the first session, maybe I established that. Krishna talks about three dharma, dharma, adharma, and paradharma. Dharma refers to responsible action. Adharma refers to irresponsible action. Whenever we perform a responsible action, we'll have to suffer for it in the future. So focus on what you can control is the first thing. Second thing, take responsibility of your choices and the actions that you take. Don't pass the buck. Don't play a blame game. Don't play a victim card. I'm a victim. It doesn't work like that. Whatever is happening because of what we have done in the past. We're just getting a reaction with compound interest to us. And the third, very important, embrace the present. Live in the present. Forget about the worry of the past and the complaints of the forget about the worry of the future and the complaints of the past. Live in the present. Do your duty as a service to the Lord. And of course, take our time to understand the beautiful concepts of how the life is governed in this world as described by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. So to conclude with, do your best and relax. Let the Lord determine what result you deserve based on your efforts and live and enjoy your life. With that, I pause here for today. Thank you so much on the subject matter of karma versus destiny. Hare Krishna.